There are a number of petty tyrants in society. It's probably a personality trait. Could be rooted in some other psychological need to exact revenge on others because someone has been treating you that way. And so if you've been controlled, then other people should be too. Sort of like paying your fair share of taxes and making sure everybody else does as well. Where we don't even really know what fair means and where those taxes are being used. We don't actually have good accountability for that. So on the subject of the petty tyrants who control others, there are many types. I'm not talking about Dr. Fauci, whom Rand Paul addresses as a petty tyrant or calls a petty tyrant. He's not petty. No, I'm talking about people like an assistant principal or other school administrator, people in human resources. Could be somebody working in a probation department at the desk. They want to control everybody. Goes in there and intimidate them and let them know their position is low and they can be bossed around. Prison guard, great example, could be somebody like that. People seek out these positions. Of course, police. The role of policeman is a very attractive one for a petty tyrant. You get a gun, you get a badge, you get to control and boss other people around, intimidate them, and it gives you some sense of power. Because you do have power. You can arrest people, even illegally. You can do it. It's possible. And they know it. And because they know it, you can intimidate them with that power. There's many ways that people can find themselves into these roles of controlling others. And so I want to talk about a particular situation of a flight attendant who's a petty tyrant. And the reason why this matters is that it's used by people who create these rules in the first place. They create rules that might not make that much sense, but it has an effect on society, and that effect is enforced through governments, through officials, and through corporations who implement policy. And the policy we have here is the mask policy on the airplane. So when I got on the plane, the woman was, making sure everybody's mask is pulled up. Pull your mask up, pull your mask. She's saying it to everybody. She said it to me. I said, well, okay, but you know it doesn't really work, right? I mean, there's big holes around the side. She said, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter? I think it does matter. And my mask was pulled up, and I walked by her and sat down. But she wasn't going to have that to be the end of that. She wanted to make sure that she could try to get revenge and show that it didn't matter whether it works or not. She's going to show who's in charge. That's the mindset that I want to highlight. It doesn't matter what's wrong or right. It matters who has control. That's what the petty tyrant wants. That's what matters to them. You see, this is the level of psychology that we're dealing with a petty tyrant. It's not about reasonability. It's about power and control. So later she came up to me and she approached me, handed me a mask, told me to take off the mask I was wearing, put the one that she wanted me to wear on. Pretty demanding and bossy the way she did it. Just take that one off and wear this one instead. The easiest thing for me to do was do it. So I did. I took off the mask I was wearing and put the one that she wanted me to wear on. And I wore it. I didn't say anything, didn't complain at all. Just put it on. She came up later and said that the mask had slipped down. And so I said, you're right, it slipped down. I'm sorry about that. Pulled it up, made sure it was above my nose, and offered her the explanation. Well, because of the face, the shape of my face, a large nose and a pointy chin, when I open my mouth, it'll pop off right off the tip of my nose. And she said, well, we can remove you from the plane. And at this point, my mask was already all the way up, right? It's all the way up. It's all the way up. We've established that she doesn't think it matters whether or not the mask is any bit effective at all, and for anything. She doesn't care. We've established the fact that she wants to enforce the mask as being up. She above anybody else. It was one particular flight attendant who wanted to do this. And so then it becomes pretty clear where she's coming from. Her motivation is to control, right? And in any society, there are going to be individuals who are so inclined. Right, and the people who are architecting these rules can probably bet on the fact that there are going to be people who will enforce them rigorously, overzealously, going for the death penalty on stuff that might seem trivial. like the guy who was surfing, and they sent the police out to get him surfing in the ocean by himself. Sent the police out to take him off his surfboard because he didn't have a mask on and he was outside. Stuff like this. That's the extreme. That's how far these people go. They'll go to any amount of extreme to enforce a rule at any cost. It doesn't matter if if you're enforcing a rule and it ends up that you can enforce a rule where you can shoot somebody's dog because you have qualified immunity, and you go ahead and shoot their dog. You show them who's boss, and the dog died, and who cares? You got to show them who's. You can put your knee on their neck and stay there for 8 minutes. All right, that's an example of a petty tyrant, right? Because that's not somebody who has great power in society, and they're trying to make something that shouldn't be a problem into a big problem because they want to exact some sort of control and assert themselves as being dominant in a situation, even if they're only obtaining dominance by putting somebody else down rather than inspiring and uplifting others to earn respect the right way. And so she kept, so back to the flight attendant story, she kept pushing on this, pulling the mask up issue, but the mask was already up. There was no more up that it could go. It was all the way up there. It was like right under my eyes up. And there was nothing we could do, right? There's nothing we could do to make it more. And what she wanted to do, what was apparent to me, was that she wanted me to grovel and whine and feel bad and feel scared that she was going to throw me off the plane. But that isn't what she got. What she got was the humiliation of having to walk away in shame because I wouldn't back down, and I pointed out that she was making, why are you making an issue out of this when the mask is already up? I don't understand why you're trying to escalate this into a problem. Why are you starting a problem with me? I'm not starting a problem. You are. Why are you doing this? And that's just how I talked to her, with that same tone of voice, not backing down in my tone of voice, not apologizing for something that I didn't do, not groveling and not whining. So I might want to paint myself as the hero in this story, but what really comes down to is not apologizing when you're not wrong, and don't give in and don't cede any bit of admission to these petty tyrants. If they're trying to bully you, make it known what they are trying to do. Make it clear what they are trying to do. You don't have to feel bad. You don't have to kiss up to them, grovel or whine, or apologize when you haven't done anything wrong. And I think it actually does matter whether or not the masks are effective if we are all walking around wearing them. I think that actually does matter. I think that's fundamentally important. And so as I said, when I got off the plane, I stopped as we're all walking and getting off the plane, took my mask off and looked at her in the eye and said, "Did you learn anything today?" Put my mask back on and left. And that's my lesson. Hope you like it.